Welcome to the channel Smart Kiddos. Today we're going to continue teaching Scratch coding. So we taught in the previous videos how to do Python and Scratch coding. So if you haven't seen those videos, please do check them out later. What are we going to learn today in this video? Today we're going to learn how to make a snake game in Scratch. So let's start. So let's first start by making our player. I'm going to hover over the Sprite tab and choose the paintbrush. Now let's make our player. I'm first going to start by clicking on the magnifying glass and zoom in quite a bit. Yeah, that's perfect. Now I'm going to draw a circle. And drag it to the very middle. Now we can draw the snake's eyes, nose, and mouth. So now let's make costume 2. I'm going to duplicate this costume and delete the eyes, the nose, and the mouth, and keep it a plain circle. This is going to be our body. Now I'm going to rename this costume to body, and I'm going to rename this costume to head. Now let's do the coding. When clicked, I want it to move 10 steps forever. Now, I want it to switch the costume to head before it moves 10 steps. Then I'm gonna wait for 0.2 seconds. Let's test this out. As you can see, our snake is moving. But how can we move right, left, up, and down? Well, we can drag another when this flag is clicked block and drag another forever loop. This time, I'm also going to drag an if statement. If, then I'm going to go to sensing and drag key space pressed. If up arrow key is pressed, then I want it to change its position. Well, in this case, I'm going to change the position to 0. Now I'm going to copy this if statement and change it to if down arrow key is pressed. Then I want it to move 10 steps and point in direction 180. And then I'm going to copy this if statement again. This time I'm going to change it to key right arrow pressed. And then I want it to point in direction of 90 degrees. I'm going to copy this one more time. This time I'm going to change it to key left arrow pressed. And then I want it to move 10 steps and change its direction minus 90 degrees. Now, over here, before the for loop, we will drag a go to position. I'm going to change this to 0, 0, which is the center. Let's test this out. See? I can move! Isn't that amazing? Now we can make the clone buddies. So let's first start by creating a variable called score for all sprites, and then let's set the score to 0. Then I'm going to go to control and drag create clone of myself and put it on top of move 10 steps. Then I'm going to drag when I start as a clone. So when I start as a clone, I want to wait score multiplied by 0.3 seconds. And then I want to delete the clone. So what does this mean? This means that whenever the snake eats an apple, the score will change by 1, which means it will take some time to delete the clone. The more apples you collect, the more longer the snake will get, and the more time it will take to delete the clone. So that is the logic on how the snake gets bigger. Speaking of apples, where is the apple? Let's create the apple. Let's go ahead and hover over the Sprite tab and choose the magnifying glass. Oh, there's the apple. Now let's decrease the apple in size. Let's make it 60. Yes, that's better. Now let's code the apple. Okay, so first we're gonna drag when this flag is clicked. Then we want the apple to go to a random position across the screen. Then we're gonna drag a forever loop. Forever, then we'll drag an if statement. Forever, if touching sprite 1, which is our snake, then we want it to hide and change the score by 1. Then we want it to go to another random position and show. Alright, let's test this out. Okay, I'm gonna collect the apple. And look, I'm growing. Now there's just one tiny issue. How does the game end? Well, when I touch the edge, or I touch my own body, the game should end. So let's code that.
Alright, so now we're going to make a backdrop for the game, and the backdrop is going to include a border so that when the snake touches the border, game over. Let's make the backdrop now. Now let's add the code so that when the snake touches the border, everything should stop because the game is done. So to do that, go to the snake code and go to this part of the code. And inside this specific forever loop, drag a if statement. Okay, so if something, right? Well, if the condition, go to sensing section and drag if touching the color. What color? Well, the color of the border. So I'm going to select this color, use this color picking tool, and select the specific border color for the backdrop. So if touching the border color, the brown border color, then we're going to go to the control section and we're going to drag stop all. We have given stop all because if the snake touches the brown border, game over. Let's add other pieces of code which checks that if the snake's tongue touches itself, right? Basically, if the snake overlaps itself, then game over also. So let's add the code for this condition. We're going to drag a if statement over here below this code for the border. All right. And what we're going to do is we're going to drag a block, go to sensing section and drag if color is touching color. So select the first color, use the color picking tool and select the snake's tongue. So the specific red, and then Select the second color, use the color picking tool, and select the green color of the snake. So if the tongue is touching the body of the snake, then also game over. So I'm going to go to control section, drag a stop all block. Okay, here's a bonus thing which you can add. To go to the Apple code and underneath the hide block, drag start sound chomp. You can drag any sound you want, but basically what's gonna happen is if the snake touches the apple, this sound will play. It'll be like the snake is actually eating the apple and making this specific sound. So let's test this game once and for all. I'm clicking on the green flag. All right, I'm gonna get the apple. Okay, I got a apple. I got another one. So you can see the more apples I get, the more the size increases for the snake. Okay, I'm gonna get another apple. You can see the score is also increasing if I get a apple. Oh, I touched myself. So game over, everything stops. Let's try again. And this time, let's see. Okay. Oh, this apple's in the edge. Oh no, I touched the border. So game over for this condition also. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the notification bell. Bye.